a big gift for me to be able to talk to Jon here. My name is Jimmy Palmiotti. I've worked in comics for 35 years. I've written The Punisher many times, and I'm nervous wreck because it's like, here's the Punisher guy, here's a guy that, how many actors were the Punisher, and yet here we are with the one that nailed it, the one that I feel nailed it. And a lot of great actors, don't get me wrong, they were great films and great actors, but we got to see, beyond the 2-hour movie, we got to see Jon bring his character to life, instead of just a two-dimensional character. There's so much involved with you have that face that, when you're on screen, it's like, you see everything working, you see everything working.
I think it's just a real shitty boxer, man. I couldn't keep my hands out.
I heard you played baseball, though, when you were younger, right? Catcher, I think?
Yeah, high school and college, some pro ball overseas, yeah.
And I learned a little bit, I was researching Jon, and I realized that how theater was so important in your career, and which makes sense. Because I think when an actor has that behind them, they have a different sense of how to approach things. Because you're a method actor, correct? I think, right? So you see it in his face. But I'm gonna let him do most of the talking. I just want to get it out of the way that I'm so happy to be here and so happy to be sitting with you. It's so nice to see somebody do justice to the character. And I just hope it stays around. You stay around doing that character for a real long time, man.
Thanks, man.
How's the con been for you today? A little crazy?
Yeah, no, it's great. People here are very nice. In the Midwest, man. Everybody's cool, polite. I really enjoyed meeting so many of you. I know it might sound like a bunch of BS. I gotta be careful. I know there's kids. I curse all the time and people don't write my words for me. So, but no, it's been really cool. I really appreciate y'all coming out, and it's been really cool to meet a bunch of you.
Yeah. And how many of you guys been introduced to Jon in, let's say, The Walking Dead? Is that something? That a terrible ending to it, but did you expect that you were going to be on the show for the 2 seasons when you first started, or is it you just like they were just telling you as you went along, kind of thing?
No. I mean, you got to read the comics, man. I first read the script that the wonderful Frank Darabont wrote, and I wanted that thing so bad, and really fought for it for a long time, and there was some talk, I auditioned for Rick first, and Frank, but then I read that role of Shane and that speech, about women keeping the lights on, and I really wanted to play that part, and when it was looking good, I remember I sat down, as sometimes you do, on the toilet with a comic, right. And by the time I was off the toilet, Shane was dead, and I was like, oh shit, what did I do? Like literally, oh shit. And I think it was the first. It seemed quick. I mean, I don't know, maybe I was stopped up or something, but it seemed like it happened quick. But I'm just saying, I couldn't. But honestly, going there and meeting those people, and what I do, it starts off with a script, and sometimes you fall in love with it, and you meet the people, and you get on set, and you meet the people that you're making it with, you meet the crew, and it either goes one way or the other. But that one just kept getting better and better. Everybody was so hungry, everybody was so about it, everybody believed in it so much, that core group and that crew down in Georgia. And I love those people so much, and that's where I became a husband and a dad, during that time, and I had these wonderful, people like Andy Lincoln and Sarah Wayne Callies who were raising families in this business, and they're family first people, and that was a huge inspiration for me. But they kept Shane along a little bit longer than I thought he was going to be kept along, and I was really grateful, and really grateful to play the part, really grateful that I got to get killed off and go do other things.
Because I think in the comic, it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like the second issue he's gone.
Yep.
The second issue, and then anybody who read the comic was watching the show, I'm like, okay, they don't want to get rid of him. And then season 2, it's like you're there, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if they're going to tell him soon, you're going to get a script in the mail and go, wait a minute, what happened here?
Yeah, no.
It was a discussion, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, we knew where it was headed. Yeah, I didn't know if we would be at the end of season 1 or season 2.
Right.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
All right, cool. And honestly, I was first introduced to you when I was watching The Pacific, the series on HBO, which you're amazing in. And it's funny because the work I started looking at your filmography, and there's so many different things going on. You know, so many different things you've done. To play a soldier, though, like, was there any like people in your family or anybody that you can like pull information from, or how did that go down?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, friends and family, but you know, in that war, and those people, you know, that generation, it's they're really their own breed, and I've gotten to I've gotten to dive into that twice with that and with Fury, you know, and what an honor, you know. Look, the best thing about what I get to do is the people I get to meet along the way, and the soldiers that I've gotten to train with, and who have opened up to me. You know, I think anytime you get to spend time with somebody who served, and they sit down and they open up and they tell you their story, that's something I hold, you know, enormously sacred. And the friends that I got to meet and people I trained with for prosthetic, they're still some of my best friends. We see each other all the time. And yeah, it was a beautiful, unbelievable experience. I'm super grateful.
Yeah, I love that. And you can watch that. That's on, I think, Netflix anytime. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. It's just history with great acting. It's just wonderful. And then we jump a little ahead because there's so much. I wrote down a million things, and I'm just like, okay, we only have a little bit of time. But your theatrical background, though, because at one point you did have a theater group you formed, correct? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, you know, yeah, man. I mean, we when I got out of, I got in a lot of trouble growing up. Things, you know, were not looking very good for me, and I think especially, you know, as a parent now, I can't imagine what it was like to be my parents. You know, I just can't imagine. And it really speaks to the power and how beautiful the profession of teaching is, and how much teachers need to be celebrated. There's a woman, I have her name tattooed here. She's my first acting teacher, and you know, I went to college. Somehow, I got into college because I played sports. I played football and baseball, and I didn't really belong. And me being the asshole I was, I took an acting class by accident. I knew I needed to fill an art requirement. So everybody told me to take intro to theater, which meant like you sit in a big room like this, and you could sit in the back, probably drink a couple beers, and just watch movies. And I was like, that's for me. And me being the dumb shit I was, I ended up in like the acting class, which was, you know, the serious actors. And they're all like sitting on the floor like Indian style. And I'd never seen anybody sit like that before. I was like, why are y'all sitting on the floor? And the first assignment was to bring in something that you really cared about and share it with the class. And everybody, you know, everybody really was taking it enormously seriously and crying and emoting, and I thought they were the weirdest people I'd ever seen in my life. And this, you know, this story's so bad, by the way. But anyway, it slowly but surely came to me, and I'd forgotten to do it, and it was so embarrassing because people were like talking this game of show and tell for like 10 minutes, and it got to me, so I just grabbed my catcher's glove because I was going to fall baseball practice, and I launched into this story about how my mom had given me this baseball glove on her deathbed. And my mom's like alive and well. But I went into this, right? And I told the story, and it was cheesy as shit. I was like, yeah, and now like me and my brother like have a catch for mom, you know what I mean? It was like terrible. And I like look around the room and everyone's crying their eyes out. And I was crying my eyes out, like, snot coming out. And I was like, whoa, wait, y'all, I'm just doing the acting. This isn't real. And this woman, Alma, she threw everybody out and she ripped my ass about violating the sanctity of her studio. And she was like, "Bud, you know, you're onto something." She's like, "You got something." She's like, "Your punishment's gonna fail you unless you audition for the play." And I did. And I got in, and then from that moment on, that was kind of it for me. Yeah, I had a theater group. We were traveling all over the place doing it. But then I got in some trouble. And I couldn't finish school. And when I was done being in trouble, I went to that woman home and I said, I really want to be an actor. And to me, I didn't know any actors, so I didn't know how to do that. I thought just like anything else, being a plumber, being a doctor, being whatever, you got to follow some steps to do it. And she said, look, it doesn't really work like that. But she got me an audition for the Moscow Art Theater, and what she thought was the best theater in the world. And I moved to Russia as a young guy. lived there for 2 years studying acting, and it really changed my life and blew my mind. And I'm so great. She ended up marrying my wife, and she's a minister. And yeah, this one teacher really changed my life and saved my life. And I promise, for all you parents or any youngsters in there who are having problems or having trouble, I guarantee you weren't as bad as I was. You troubles, and so I think there's always, there's always hope. You find something you love, and you go at it with everything you got.
How did your because every little bio I read about, it said the word troublemaker kept coming up, and I kept laughing at it. I'm like, okay, that's pretty much me and all my brothers growing up. The same thing in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
We're all troublemakers. But like I said, at some point, like what happened when you went home and you told your parents, like, I want to be an actor? Like, what was, like, because that's like out of left field for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I think they, I think just as long as it was different from the other stuff I was doing, it was way better than the other shit. Yeah, and they support, but that was a big thing, because I played sports, and I did martial arts, I boxed, and so the big thing for me was the folks that, my best friends and my brothers and the people that I'd come up with when they first saw me do it, and to hear them kind of look at me different and say, hey man, like, you're all right, man. You can, and that was so powerful. Yeah, I mean, they made fun of me and said, oh, you're an actor, you're prancing around, you're tights and shit, but they were like showing up for the shows, and like, and I could see the look in their eye. That was really beautiful.
So you had parents that no matter what you did, they were back.
No matter what, they got.
So important for everybody, because kids, you explore. You try, baseball, the acting, and then a gigantic career. I never knew, again, researching you, I was like, oh my God, he's in a million things, and working so hard. Like, it seems like when you read this stuff on a list, on a page, it's like, how did he have time to have 3 kids? How did you have a life with all this going on, but obviously you managed, and you did very well. And I want to get to the Punisher, because a lot of comic book fans here know the Punisher, And again, he was one of my favorite Marvel characters, because he didn't have superpowers. He didn't, he's a great fighter and great with weapons, and of course his history in Vietnam and all that stuff. But basically it wasn't a regular Marvel superhero. It wasn't, you could say it's a superhero character. And I know in the beginning, at first, when you were offered it, you were a tiny bit reluctant about stepping into the universe, the superhero.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was in Ireland, and I was doing a movie with Tom Holland. Tom Holland was just like a little dude back then, man. And he was he really wanted to play Spider-Man. Right? I never seen it anything like it. He was like auditioning, like every week we were making tapes for him for Spider-Man. He like really fucking wanted that thing. I was like, damn, dude. And he's like, I'm Spider-Man. Like, even when he wasn't doing that, I was like, all right, bro. And it was amazing. It was beautiful. He's so talented and so driven. And then this thing came while we were over there about Punisher. And being in the Marvel, that was never an aspiration of mine. And a lot of the guys that I really looked up to, didn't really do that. But then they started telling me, the guys there in Ireland started telling me who he was and what happened to him and what it was about. And he was, came from the Marine Corps, and that was it. I've said it before, like, I don't even know where to begin with Frank. I think, first and foremost, like I've said, I'm a father and a husband. That's my main everything. It's my main job on this planet. And I think until you really understand what it's like to love something way more than you love yourself and have to give your life for something, can you begin to understand what it would be like if you had to lose that or somebody took that from you. And I think there's a little bit of that in all of us. And then when I saw how much Frank means to the law enforcement community, the military community, the comic book community, I was scared as hell, like really. But it's really been like one of the real honors of my life, getting to walk in those boots, and I've gotten to meet so many great people, and I just want to do it right. I want to it's sacred ground for me, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you get to kick Daredevil's ass a little bit there too. I mean, that's fun. But when you were, because at first you were on the Daredevil show for the second season. Did you know that you were going to be extended past that, or you just did it as like that was a gig, cool gig to play the Punisher?
Yeah, no, I don't really ever. Yeah, it's never really about like what it's gonna. Yeah, you just kind of gotta, you know, be where you are while you're there and do what's ahead of you. And I really thought that those writers in Daredevil season 2, I thought that they really got the Punisher. They did Frank real well. You know, I thought that they were bold enough to let him turn his back on the audience, and you know, he comes out and just shooting places up, and there's nothing soft about it. You know, and then they wrote this Marine, John Kelly, a writer, wrote this scene where he was talking about coming home the night he came home and not reading 1 batch, 2 batch to his daughter because he was too tired. And then the next time he saw her, you know, she'd been shot up. And, you know, I'd never really read anything like that before. And I just thought it was so beautifully done. And I thought that's you know, you're giving this guy the opportunity to go as dark as possible. He's not trying to get out of that darkness, you know, but you see why, you know, when you read that, you get to say that. So I'm just really grateful, man.
Yeah, and I got to say, you know, watching the Punisher, watching you in the Punisher, it is a study for the audience, because no matter what you're doing, your face is the star of that. I got to say, because we're reading past just what's going on in the scene. The expressions, like a lot of times, you know, the camera stays on you, and you can see what I loved about Jon is like you can see the processing going on and the emotion in it, and I think that's what, for me, that's what connected me into your performance. It was like, okay, this isn't just somebody playing the Punisher. This is the guy. This is the guy that lived through this, had this amazing loss, this horrible loss, and yet still standing up the next day and going out there doing what he thinks is right. No matter where his vision is, it's what he sees as right, and I just think it's a fantastic performance. I look forward to seeing you in the next Daredevil. I think he's next, right? Back on the, you know, they're doing some stuff. They're doing some stuff coming up. I want to also talk about, which I thought was such an interesting role, Mark Rosado in The Bear. Like, this is an amazing show. Because, and I, like I said, I could never be an actor because I see when it's a show that it's established, basically the show is around your character, something your character does. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. You know, Jon is amazing in it. But how hard is it to walk into a show like that? And you're like the nexus of why everybody's doing everything in that show. And I thought what was pretty amazing I think it was in the first season, it was 2 episodes that featured you, and you kind of walked in, and you felt so established. Like that character felt like, you know, you almost like before they ever met you. I imagined what that person, because I always talked about your character in the present tense. And then when they showed you in the show, I was like, well, so relieved it was you. And then I thought, oh my God, he's amazing in this, because of course you can see his effect on everybody in this. Now again, brilliant writing on the show. The show is just brilliant writing. But I think in an actor that is just not as home craft as you, I think it would have been, wouldn't have come across so great. In those episodes, man, you were alive. Like it was funny because a character in the past tense, and he was so alive, you lost track of the fact that this is them looking into the past. And I just thought it was an amazing performance because it grounded everything else in that show in a matter of 2 episodes for me. And then the second season, when you come back again, it's just great, you know. But how is it like walking into, because that's like an ensemble that's already been rolling, and then you just walk in there. How is that?
They look, they're onto something really, really beautiful over there. It's all them. That's nothing to do with, you know, Chris Storr, you know, who writes it, he's a beautiful guy, and it's him, man. It's his family. It's his heart, you know, that's beating in that thing, and you know, Evan Moss Backrack, he was on The Punisher with me. He plays Richie on The Bear. You know, my first gig ever was understudying him in an off-Broadway play. And he didn't give me the damn time of day. but now we've worked together a ton of times, and our families are super close, and I love him. He's a real dear friend of mine, and you know, he called me up and he said, hey man, you know, I'm on this show, hadn't come out yet, and he said, I think it's really special, these people are great, and I respect him and love him so much, that guy, and if he says that, I buy it, you know, and he said, I really love this group, I really love these people, and you know, the show's kind of about his family, and there's this brother that passed, and you know, they want you to do it. Would you come out here and do it? And I said, shit, Bo, I call him Bone. I was like, Bone, man, I thought I'd do anything for you, man. Well, of course I'll do it. But I'm out here in LA. I said, where you guys shoot? He said, Chicago. I said, I can't do that. And he said, hang on, let me call you back. And he calls me back, and he's like, we're gonna fly out to LA and shoot it during your lunch break from your other show. We're just gonna do it in one of the producer's kitchens. I'm like, what kind of, this is a TV show? I'm like, this actually gonna be on TV? That doesn't normally happen. And sure as shit, that's what happened, you know. They came and they kind of handed it to me. So it was not, you know, some like great, you know, feat of preparation on my place, you know, on my part. You know, it was meeting them, and it's such a wonderfully collaborative look. I think no matter what you do in this world, no matter what your work is, you know, it's the mark of a really great, you know, leader, a really great director, a really great boss, to bring people in for a reason, and when you bring them in, you let them freaking fly. You don't stand all over them and tell them how to do their job. And I think that you know, in my business, there's nothing that reeks of mediocrity more than somebody who lurks all over you and tells you how to do your job. Like, let people say, I don't care what you do on that set, like, let people do their thing. Like, let people do their thing. And if you give people that agency, you'd be surprised. And then we're all building something together, you can make something great. And that's how it is there. You know, it's enormously free. Yeah, everybody does their thing, everybody loves it. You know, I just think that that's, if you like what I did in there, I think it's because of the way that they ran things, you know, more than anything I did.
I think you're being humble, but you're great at it. In your career, you've got to work with pretty amazing directors, and I, as a fan of Paul Schrader forever, and I know you worked with American Gigolo, the series you did on that. How was it like working with somebody like that? Like Paul Schrader, obviously, you know, it's like you grow your whole life seeing his movies, and then you get to be on a set with
Paul, he had nothing to do with that. No.
He had nothing to do with that?
No, he had nothing to do with that. No, I think he said it was like a stupid idea.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah, it was like, you know. But you know, I don't know, it might have been. But you know, I think that, no, I've been super lucky, you know, with the directors that I've gotten to work with, and you know, I'm really grateful, you know, and when I think about the Denis Villeneuve and Scorsese, you know, Frank Darabont and David Ayer, and you know, I mean, it kind of goes on forever. Steve McQueen, you know, I think again they're all so enormously different, but the one thing that they all do the same is they kind of pulverize hierarchy on their sets. They, like, good ideas can come from anywhere. It doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter who you are. Nobody cares about that. It's just, there's no ego involved. And I really, again, I really believe in that, to be open to other people's ideas and their thoughts. I think these days we're all so, you know, locked in our phone and closed-minded and not really paying attention to each other. You know, great people, great ideas, great relationships can just walk on by, you know, if you don't open up, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And so you think like the best directors are the ones that give you room, they explore the character.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. Yeah, know what they're doing, and they've done their work. But then say, come on, we brought you here for a reason. Go do your thing.
And I mean, it is an industry of confidence, right? Because if they have the confidence, if they're projecting that confidence, you feed off it, right? And if they don't know what they're doing, you kind of like feel the loss on
just all over you, being like, hey, don't do that. I mean, what's that? You know what I mean?
Like, not letting you breathe.
Yeah,
That's cool. Cool. All right, we're going to do some questions from the audience, if anybody has any, because I think that's always fun. And if anybody's interested, there's a microphone right over there.
Go ahead, man.
Hi, Mr. Bernthal. My name is Isaac. Just want to say I love your work, from Walking Dead to Real Ones. I absolutely love listening to Real Ones. Your Pete Davidson episode is so great to listen to.
Thanks, man.
You bring such profound honesty to all of your characters that at no point do I think you're an actor playing a character. You are this character. With all that being said, I just have 2 quick questions. Have you ever taken a nap, and what's your issue with naps?
Dude. I mean, oh, there you are in the video, man. That's cool as shit, you know? No, man, I do not take naps, bro. I know it's like God, you know, it's not like I'm like, oh, you're yourself because you take a nap. Man, go with God, man. Do whatever you want. I just, yeah, for me, it's not part of the deal, man. I just have so much to do. And like I said, first and foremost, you know, again, like, you know, I'm a dad and a husband, and you know, I coach my kids tackle football. I coach basketball. You know, I got a little boxing gym for the kids in my community. Like, you know, there's always something to be doing beyond. You know, I'm so busy with work, and so the idea that I would go just like shut my eyes for a little bit, it just never really. I don't understand how to wrap my head around that. You know? I could go to sleep on this rug right now. But yeah, I just don't. I'm not down with that. You know. But I don't want to be like I'm like judging people. I mean, there's some people that are like, yo, I'm going to take a nap. I'm like, damn, all right. But anyway, I don't judge you if you nap, bro. You know? But I don't nap. Yeah.
Well, I hope we get to see you work with Frank Darabont a lot more.
Frank?
Yes.
Yeah, Frank's a national treasure, man. I love
Everything he does is gold.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah. I hope he comes back too. We're gonna find something. Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Cool.
Thank you.
Hey, Jon, thanks for coming to KC.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
As a retired tanker, your portrayal and the rest of your crew in Fury was on point.
Thanks, brother.
The dark comedy, the humor, and just the camaraderie that you guys brought in, it was great. It was good to see.
Thank you, bro.
As your portrayal of the Punisher, Frank Castle, when you took the character, did you go into any background materials or any read any storylines?
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
I
war
mean,
journals or any
sure.
old stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, thank you, bro. I appreciate what you said, and you're right. There's nothing in the world. There's no group of people closer in this world than a tank unit. You know what I mean? And you know, those guys, like, man. But yeah, you know, obviously, you know, I dove into the comics real heavy, you know, and I really responded to you know, Garth Ennis, you know, and the Punisher Max stuff. I really, you know, that stuff really shook me. But you know, man, one of the great things about what I get to do, like I said, is the folks that I get to train with, and there's. You know, each season, there's sort of a group of guys that I've gotten real close with in the Special Forces community that I've gotten to go and train from, and they really help me with mindset, telling me stories, walking me through things, and you know, I know it's a long-ass answer to a short-ass question, but I kind of think that there's like, in what I do, there's like 2 roads I gotta walk down. This is gonna be some cheesesteak actor stuff, so just bear with me. But like, there's 2 roads I gotta walk down, right? Like, I gotta learn like how the person talks, how they move, and I've gotta learn their profession. I've gotta learn what they do. So he's a tennis coach, I gotta learn how to coach tennis. They're a loader in a tank, I gotta learn that, right? They're an infantryman, I gotta learn that, right? And there's no end to that, right? You can go back to basic training, you can go all through specialties like, you know, how they grew up, what neighborhood did they grow up with, what's that dialect, right? Like, you can stay in that lane. There's no end to how long you can stay in that lane. And that's just busy work. I love that work because I can actually do it. I can actually handle it. From the time I get apart, there's like a ticking clock, and I just stay on that road as much as I can. And the other road I gotta get on is this sort of like magical, weird road that like I gotta get inspired, where like I start to understand the person's heart, and I understand his fears and what drives him and what he's longing for. And that, I gotta, like, something's gotta happen. I don't know what it is, but something's gotta happen to me. But what I found is the longer I stay on that first road, the more ripe I am for the second road. So I love staying on that first road for as much as I can. So that's really all I do, is I train with guys, I listen to stories, I read stories, and then I start to get inspired in that way. And then if it works, it's only because I stayed on that road long enough. You know, if that makes sense.
Yes. And if and when you do come back to being Frank, we're looking forward to seeing you stack more bodies.
Yes, sir. All right.
Hi.
What's up?
Never thought I would talk to you all in green, but
Cool. Are you painted or are you wearing?
yeah, no, it's paint, and then my arm is a
Envious.
Yeah, your arms are a suit and your face is painted.
Just envious.
Fucking A.
So, as freaky as I can without being as creepy as possible, the Punisher is the main reason why I even started working out, so I would literally sit there and watch it while lifting weights the entire time, because you are just a beautiful man. Now that being said, if you take like your character Shane and then with Frank Castle, how long do you think in the Walking Dead universe that Frank would have survived? And if he would have taken Shane's side or Rick's side?
I mean, you know the answer to that shit. Frank, that zombie apocalypse, I don't want to see Frank Castle. Yeah. Yeah, man, you know the answers to all that. Yeah, that's cool, man. I'm glad you're in the gym, man. That's great. I don't know what to say about the first part. That's so rude. I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, you look great, man.
Hi there, John. I'm Derek. I appreciate you coming to KC.
Appreciate you, man.
And I really appreciate all the work you've done in the past. I really get into character study roles, and it almost seems like inherently your character is always hard-nosed, no nonsense, hard-ass, and inherently a little violent. That being said, out of all of your previous projects, if you had to pick, the entire cast becomes Muppets. But your character remains the same.
In which show?
Anyone? Which one?
What was the last part?
Which project would you pick where your character stays human but the entire cast becomes Muppets?
Yo, man. Every single one, dude. Every single movie like that. Every single one would be great. That's great. You should make that movie, dude. Let's go.
Hit my line, we'll talk.
Fucking A, man. Don't even call my agent. Let's go. I love it.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Hi, I'm John, just like you. Since your name is Jon Bernthal, and you are from the television show The Bear, can you give me your best The Bear, the animal impression?
I love bears, man. I really do love bears. I've had a few run-ins with bears, man. And bears, look, I'll tell you, man. I'm like dreadfully fucking afraid of crickets. I hate crickets. No, seriously, I hate crickets, man. And I mean, I got stories about crickets, but that's it. But like, it's something about bears don't scare. I've had a few run-ins. You know, my wife, when she was my girlfriend, I was really, she's from the Angle family, you know, like Kurt Angle and stuff. She's bad, she's bad. You know? And I was really trying to impress her. We got like, we've been together a long time, and we were living down in, she was an ICU trauma nurse down in DC. And I was like a fledgling actor and a bouncer and a kind of a piece of shit. And I wanted to take her on a hike. She's in super good shape. So we drove down Skyline Drive and down in Virginia. And me trying to be the tough guy, we drove down, it was like 96 degrees, and I go and I ask this ranger, I'm like, hey man, what's like the hardest hike around here? He's like, well, there's like Dead Man's Loop. He's like, but definitely don't do that because it's 10 hours, and if you started now, you'd be done, you know, at nighttime, and nobody does it, and you won't make it. I'm like, we're doing that one. So I take my wife on it, and it's a loop, right? And we're having the time of our life. Sorry, again, long ass answer, short ass question, but we're having like the time of our life. We're holding hands, there's like a waterfall, we're like making out and shit. It's going so well. We're the only people on the hike. But remember, it's a loop, right? So we keep going, keep going. And then about like 6 hours in, she's like, this is taking forever. We had no water, we had no nothing. She's like super hot. Then like 8 hours in, she starts to cry. And I'm like, you crying? And she's like, yeah. She's like, this is taking forever. And I'm like, we gotta stop, you know? And I was like, yeah, but the problem is it's starting to get dark, and we can't like go back, right? Because it's a loop, we gotta keep going. She's like, all right, so it's kind of like all backfired. We keep walking, and I definitely don't, you know, I just seem like a city kid who doesn't know what he's doing in the woods, because that's what I am. And we keep walking, and then I see this big clump of crap, like on the trail, like giant. And I'm like, that's a big clump of crap. And she doesn't notice, we keep walking, and we turn this corner, and I see something that looks like a little monkey like run up into the tree, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And it was like a little baby bear, and then there's a few other little baby bears, and then out from the other side, this big mama bear comes out, and like takes a few steps like right at us, and it's like just a few feet away from us, and kind of stands up. I saw the bear, and I put my hands on my wife, who's now my wife, then my girlfriend, and I kind of moved her behind me, and I just took a few steps to the bear, and I had this standoff with this bear. And in one moment, I totally freaking redeemed myself. You know? But the thing is like the mama bear, she went off in the same direction that we had to go. And I don't know, like I'm not like a bear guy, I didn't know. So I just like got a couple rocks and I started like singing this song, like, hey bear, I'm just coming, I don't want to cause you any problems. Like following the bear. Anyway, man, and I've had a few other run-ins with bears, and I just dig bears. But nah, man, that's my way also, like I'm not doing any impressions. You got the story instead.
Thank you.
That sounded like your acting class story being told again.
No, that's damn fucking true. Now you can ask my wife, that's damn true.
I'm Mr. Jon Bernthal. I'm Logan. I was wondering, when have you done something where you felt like you've had a moment where it's like, I'm doing something that really resonates with one of the characters I've played? Like, I feel like I've had a whole handful of moments where it's like, holy crap, I'm Shane Walsh. You know what I mean?
Wait, what? What is what? Say it again.
Like, do you have any moments where you feel like you're doing something that kind of embodies one of the personalities of one of the characters you played?
Yeah, man. Recently, that's a good question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel like it wasn't. It was my idea. I'm in my head, so thank God. Like, so just a few weeks ago, I got like this big scar right here. I got like an elbow to my forehead, and I got 36 stitches right here. And the guy who did it, like
He's dead?
No. I've worked like really hard. I'm a dad. I had problems when I was young, and I had to like do a lot of work on it, and you had to like keep anger journals and like all this crap. But this guy hit me with this elbow here and split, and I remember I was like standing, and there was like this gymnasium, and there's all these kids around and families around, and I'm like, blood's just like kind of coming down my face off my eyes, and I'm staring at him, and I was thinking the worst thoughts, dude. And I was just straight in Frank Castle, like looking at this dude, and I just was staring at him, and it really was surreal. I was like, and then I was like, okay, no, it's real life, whatever, and that was it. Yeah. So I don't know, does that answer the question?
Yeah, thank you.
That's pretty good. That's a good question.
Hi, John.
What's up?
Hey, my vote, by the way, for the Muppet question is definitely We Own This City.
Wow, yeah. That'd be crazy.
And I want to say that that's far and away my favorite character I've seen you portray is Wayne Jenkins. And my question is, because earlier you were talking about the lane that you stay in and the busy work that you do to prepare for roles. Since Wayne Jenkins is a real person who did real things, is there any way you approach a role like that that's unique? Can you share anything about that?
Yeah, man, great question. Yeah, no, I mean, I've gotten to do a couple recently where playing real people. I did it in King Richard too, like where you get to play somebody who's real and still alive and still out there. And with Wayne, it was super complicated because it was at a time in this country where sort of the fervor against law enforcement was at a real apex. And look, I just, for me, like without getting political, and you go into these jobs, you're not trying to make a political statement, but to me, I just like fundamentally do not believe that there's such thing as that a profession is bad, or that a race of people is bad, or that a religion is bad. I just don't roll like that. Like there's assholes and there's saints that do everything. And to try to think that people that put on a uniform and keep our streets safe are just bad, like I can't get down with that. However, at that time, what this show was about one of the most corrupt cops in the history of Baltimore, and a city that's real rough. But, I got to go there, making a show with the same people that made The Wire, and I knew that going into every district in Baltimore, they were going to open up to me because of that, because of the street cred, working with George Pelicanos and David Simon. So yeah, for 3 months, I got to go with a guy named a gun cop in Baltimore named Detective Severino, Dre Severino, and we went on ride-along every night with the gun squads in each district of Baltimore, and we did SWAT raids twice a week with the county SWAT and the city SWAT, and it blew my mind. But I think deeper than that, I got to know all the guys from the Gun Trace Task Force, all Wayne's real friends. I got to really know them. And anytime I'm with a cop in that show, that's a real Gun Trace Task Force guys. And again, these are guys whose careers were ruined because of their proximity to Wayne, or at least some of their careers were hurt because of their proximity to Wayne. And these are great cops, heroic cops, guys who really stood up for that city, really, people from the community who are just, really took the fight to the criminals and are so unbelievably needed there. And they got sidelined. So yeah, man, and then I got to meet, I got to talk with Wayne from prison, got to, I went and talked to the person he coached youth football with, and and then I got to see this sort of other side of Wayne. So yeah, man, there's something about having the North Star of the truth. Like, this is really how the guy sounded. This is really how the guy walked. These were really his friends. This is really how he rolled. It's an unbelievable opportunity for me, because it's like that busy work. It never stops. I can always dig deeper, and it was such an honor to play that part and to work with those guys. They're real heroes of mine. I'm working with George Pelicanos on something else now. Yeah, and Ray Green as well.
Well, you owned it. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Hey John, my name's Curtis, and pardon me, my leg's asleep.
Your leg's asleep?
Yeah, I'm turning 40 next month. I can't sit on the floor like I used to.
So old.
All you guys. So yeah, I mean, loved you in Punisher and Walking Dead and all that, but in King Richard, you were phenomenal. Ford versus Ferrari, and God, I'm kind of forgetting the title. Is it Wind River? People, if you haven't seen Wind River, go see Wind River. Next chance you get, and getting to hear about your background, what you're into these days. Obviously, being a dad, sports growing up. Anything you want to do that you haven't done yet in the future, like maybe a baseball movie. Growing up, I love Major League.
Yeah, me too.
Don't need a reboot, It's fine if it's a different baseball movie.
You just killed that dream, huh?
Well, I mean, hey, if you're in it, I'll yeah. But no, I just wondered if there's anything like going back in your past you'd love to be able to do this kind of story.
Man, I have a shitty answer, but honestly, I think I think say somebody in your life, right, that you really care about. Like, if you think about the best thing about that person, it's super close probably to the thing that you can't stand about that person. It's like the best shit about people, if you just take it a little bit too far, it's like actually what you hate about them, and like vice versa, right? And I think it's the same thing. It's like I've really found the best thing. The hardest thing for people in my business is that you never know what's going to come next. Is that you always, you finish a job might be your last. You just got to understand, like, at some point, the phone's going to stop ringing for you. This thing that you love to do, this thing that you work so hard at, this thing that puts food on the table, one day that's going to go away because people ain't going to want it anymore. And like, that's a real deal. And there's some people that drives them crazy, and it makes it so this profession really ain't for them. But for me, somewhere along the line that like kind of shifted, and I actually think that's the best thing about this profession and about my life. That I don't know what's out there, but it's out there. Like, I don't know what's coming next, and every day, yeah, the phone could stop, but it also could ring, and it could be that one thing that you're talking about, that one thing that will be. So I don't have these like aims like I gotta play a fighter, or I gotta play a baseball player, I gotta play a pilot, or any of those things. For me, it's about the quality of the writing and the work itself, the quality of the people that are working on it, and honestly, I'm like perplexed and astounded with how lucky I've been, and I'm just so grateful that I get to do it, that I get choices. If you knew where I sort of where I was, man, it makes no sense. And so I'm just grateful for it. And I don't, there's not that like one thing that I'm yearning to do. I got a lot of projects that I'm pushing out there, things that I've written, things that, that we're getting made that I'm really excited about. But as far as I gotta play a fighter, it's no, I don't really, it's not really like that for me. Cool. Sorry, man.
No, that's fine. The first part got me thinking about my dad, right? The thing you love is also the thing you hate, so I'll look you up.
Hey, bless your dad, man. Bless your dad.
Bless my dad.
Yeah, bless your dad, dude. He loves you, man. He loves you. I promise you.
We got time for one more question.
What was your favorite part about working with Ben Barnes in The Punisher?
Ben Barnes, man. My favorite part of working with Ben Barnes? I love Ben Barnes, man. Ben Barnes is super cool. It's my favorite thing. He's, man. I don't know. I mean, I love Ben Barnes. Ben, he's incredibly hardworking. He was really about it. He's not, he's like a really like sweet, like pretty dude, and he played like, like a super bad Marine, and he was like, he tapped into something. I mean, you guys know, it's like the scariest people, out there are like the ones that there's just like something off, man, and that will do it. He really tapped into that. And I give a lot of respect for that, for how hard he worked and how hard he pushed. And I love working with Ben Barnes. I mean, he's like a beautiful, beautiful human. Yeah, no, I love him. Yeah, sorry. I feel like I'm giving the shittiest answer. Give one more question, man.
All right, one more question.
Yeah, sorry. I love Ben Barnes.
That's a good answer.
Hey, John, how you doing? So, my question to you is, since you're related to the Angle family, have you ever thought about stepping into the squared circle?
What did you say?
I didn't hear you. Couldn't hear you.
Oh, I said, since you're related to the Angle family, you ever thought about stepping in the squared circle?
The angles.
Yeah. You ever thought about being a wrestler is what I'm trying to ask.
Did you ever think about being a wrestler?
Yeah, you.
Man, I'm old as shit, dude. No. I box, man. I box. I'm not wrestling anybody. Let me tell you something. My wife had to wrestle her brother. She probably won't be saying this shit. But like, my wife's brother was like legendary. Kurt says that Marky, my wife's little brother, was better than Kurt. Like he was All-American, Clarion. Never lost. I mean, he beat the guy his weight in the Olympics above him. And my wife had to wrestle Marky. They were a year apart. They had to wrestle like pretty much every. She was his sparring partner. My wife will whoop someone's ass. She's real little, and like she beats my ass, dude. She wrestles dirty as shit. She fish hooks me. She's terrible. But if we were to box, I would whoop the snot out of her. You know what I'm saying? I ain't wrestling, man. I'm not. Nah, man.
Fair enough.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, let's have a big hand for
Thank you,
Jon.
guys.
Hey, y'all mind if we take a selfie? Yes.